What is the main draw of the take out motion inputs, like, movement? Like, most people will tell you it's so that way, you know, you simplify the game so more people want to play it. And then you got games, you know, which could be true. I mean, you have games like Granblue, which have both options, right? And I think Granblue does that very interestingly. I think it's a very smart way to do it, where it's like, you can do the simple inputs, but they don't do as much damage. They don't reward you as much as doing the manual inputs. I think it's a good choice. Making more games more RPS. Alright, yeah. I could see that. And I think that taking out motion inputs... Right. Oh, that actually makes sense. I hadn't thought about 6, 2, and 3 or not. They're not. They don't guard. They don't have a 147 intro or 417. Yeah, 417. I feel like making inputs simpler is not going to solve the problem of access to fighting games. Okay. All right. Hold on. This is a real conversation, real quick. Let me back it up for a second. I feel like, because I've had this conversation with a student in one of the classes I was taking last term. And also my friend the other day, actually. What makes fighting games hard for new people is the level of personal accountability. Right? Fighting games are not potato chip games. Right? They're not like Call of Duty where you can just pick it up for 10 minutes, you kind of know what's going on, and it's the same thing, rinse and repeat over and over again, right? Fighting games require time and effort to understand what's going on and get good. I mean, all games do, but like that initial learning phase in fighting games is much more arduous, right? It requires more work. Also, you know, it's a fact that in fighting games, it's very mistakes, you have to own them. You have to own mistakes, right? So in like team games, you have the option. I mean, not that you should, but we all know that person's like, my team is trash. That guy's cheating. That's an aimbot. Oh, you know, all these other things that you would expect from like in a MOBA. Oh, he doesn't know how to play his champion, right? In a shooting game, you know, he used an aimbot, whatever. All sorts of things like that. Fighting games don't give you that opportunity. I mean, they do right now because netplay, right? But when you're in an offline setting, you can say like, oh, it's my controller and all that. There are always excuses, but at the end of the day, it's much harder. Like, you have to really grasp for straws because you're the one who chose to do the DP input. You didn't have the execution to do that properly, or you just picked a bad time to do it. You got baited. You made a mistake. You can blame the game, but it's much harder to have an external locus of control in fighting games. And it really does force you to acknowledge that you make decisions that make things go wrong, right? And just most people I know outside of this community are personal accountability is hard nowadays for people to understand, right? So inherently, fighting games will not get super popular in the modern day era because they are far too personal. Alright, that's the video for YouTube. I mean, we can agree or disagree, but that's my 2 cents. Well, thank you. I try to be very analytical in my approach.